the right wing, the activist part of it, is embracing cancel culture now. And it's a little bit disturbing. Now, a number of people have been fired from their jobs, went over yesterday, and that list is mounting. We'll have an update tomorrow. State of Texas leading the league here. And they acted inappropriately in the wake of Mr. Kirk's murder. So they lost their jobs, lost their livelihoods, and a number of conservatives are celebrating that. Not me. I think that it is absolutely atrocious that anyone would celebrate the death of Charlie Kirk or any other person, unless that person were Hitler or Stalin or, somebody whose act of evil is murdering people. If Putin were assassinated tomorrow, I'm not going to be sad. Okay? But there's a degree. So Vice President Vance has gotten involved with all of this. Roll the tape.
So when you see someone celebrating Charlie's murder, call them out. And hell, call their employer. We don't believe in political violence, but we do believe in civility. And there is no civility in the celebration of political assassination. Get involved. Get involved. Get involved. It's the best way to honor Charlie's legacy.
But be careful, because dishonest people can use that cancel culture for revenge, for denial of due process, for rumor. So if you're going to follow the vice president's advice, you have to have heard what happened or saw it yourself. No water cooler gossip, no social media. You have to have it. And then you have to think about, is it worth harming this person's life? Is this person bringing a negativity to your life, your kids? Educators, that's the top, by the way. So if it's a teacher spreading around far-left propaganda who's jumping up and down with joy that Charlie Kirk is dead, I'd report that person in a second. A doctor, somebody in a position of authority, boom. But I have to see it. I can't just hear it. Because there are people who will use this kind of a volatile situation for revenge on a person they don't like. Okay. Now, there was a website, the Charlie Kirk Data Foundation. They took it down, but it was trying to compile, without checking, because you couldn't check it, accusations that people were celebrating Mr. Kirk's murder. I'm glad it's down. But before it went down, it raised a lot of money. It could have been a scam. Okay? And it was the worst. It was the worst. Now tell us on the website the name and address of these people who you think are acting inappropriately. Dangerous. Dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. Okay? But that went up and running. It's not there anymore. Could come back. Now, the far left knows it's in trouble. There's no doubt it does. And we're going to have an interview with Tim Graham, who follows the media, and talk about that. But they have to be very cautious now, because Matthew Dowd at MSNBC, or whatever it is, got fired. Okay? And Washington Post, and I'll tell you about her in a moment, got fired. They're really on the defensive. They don't like it. Here's leftist Brian Stelter on CNN. Go.
So you have this now coordinated conservative campaign to try to get people fired for a wide range of opinions. And look, this is a new form of cancel culture. Something that the right complained about when, they were saying the left was targeting people 4, 5, 6 years ago. The truth is, cancel culture never goes away. It just changes shape.
But we didn't hear much objection about the cancel culture from CNN, did we? And how do I know that? Because I was a target of it. They tried to take me out. They failed. And I'm more powerful than ever before. But they took out a lot of other people. The left took them out. And they excluded people. They gave them an excuse. All the networks, all of them, all three, have excluded traditional conservative voices for the past, 10 years since Trump entered the arena? Couldn't get on there. I did an interview yesterday with Major Garrett, an old Fox News colleague who works for CBS. First time in 10 years. And the only reason that interview took place, and Garrett's a good guy, is they sold it. CBS was sold to Skydance, which is apparently not going to put up with this blackballing, cancel culture stuff. Good. Now, I got to get a hold of that Garrett interview so I can put it on a website. It was a good interview. First time in 10 years. Okay? Because they didn't want. All three of the networks guilty. Guilty, guilty, guilty. All right? We're not going to, nope. Only progressive points of view are allowed. That's really bad. Cold and flu season coming on up. We all know it. And it really is nothing to take lightly. So when people start getting sick all across the country, medications disappear. Everybody wants it at the same time. So it's very, very smart to have a pharmacy you can count on, like All Family Pharmacy. Right now, they're helping Americans get ahead of the curve with 10% off antibiotics, antivirals, other essentials. You know how important it is to have the right meds when you get sick, particularly when your kids get sick. You don't want to be going into the doctor's office, spending all the time. You want to have them at your home. So if you have a few months supply, you don't have to worry. And that's what we're doing here. If you believe in medical freedom, okay, and taking care of your family, as I do, this is the pharmacy for you. Please go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Bill. Use code BILL10 to save 10%. You know, Stelter, you know who he is. I'm not even going to bother with him. The Washington Post is a left-wing newspaper. There's no doubt about it. It has been forever. I don't know. Last time I endorsed a Republican for president, I think it was 1920 or someplace like that. And Boston Globe, New York Times, LA Times, Chicago Tribune, Atlanta Constitution, right down the list. They're all progressive. They fired a woman named Karen Attiah, 38 years old, the Global Opinions columnist. They fired her, which is unbelievable. She had been there 10 years, 11 years. African-American woman, you fire her? Now, here's why she got fired. I'm going to put this up full screen. I'll read it to you guys listening on the radio. Quote, for everyone saying political violence has no place in this country, remember 2 Democrat legislators were shot in Minnesota just this year, and America shrugged and moved on. Well, I didn't shrug, lady. I thought it was appalling. Part of what keeps America so violent is the insistence that people perform care, empty goodness, and absolution for white men who espouse hatred and violence, unquote. There you go. White men, the root of all evil. Gone. Washington Post sends her a letter, quote, Karen, I am writing to inform you that the Post is terminating your employment effective immediately for gross misconduct. Your public comments on social media regarding the death of Charlie Kirk violate the Post's social media policies, harm the integrity of our organization, potentially endanger the physical safety of our staff. That's from Wayne Connell, Chief HR Officer, Washington Post. So she's out of there, okay? Again, extremely unusual. Now, you saw Joy Reid, Tiffany Cross, NBC let them go. Same reason. White men, white men, white men. Demonize, demonize, demonize. That's racism. No doubt about it. And I'm going to give Ms. Attiah the last word here, to be fair. She replied to her termination this way, quote, the Post accused my measured Blue Sky Post, that's an internet site, of being unacceptable, gross misconduct, and of endangering the physical safety of colleagues, charges without evidence, which I reject completely as false, unquote. Okay, so summing up, the far left progressive movement is under fire. It is on notice, to use a cliche, and they're being very cautious. That's the memo.